Hello everybody, it's Cape Rugby TV. Welcome back to your favourite rugby program. Coming up on the show tonight, we'll take a look at what happened 2 weeks ago, Brackenfell, at least a week ago, Brackenfell and St. George's, and then we'll take a look at the match between Police versus Masiphumelele. Big thanks to our sponsors that are on board with Cape Rugby TV. Of course, Hisense, our technical partner. Score Energy Drinks. They'll be with Western Province, have been for a while now. And of course, looking forward to the sevens later in the year as the guys from the Score Energy Drinks team are always supporting local Western Province Club Rugby. Dulux Maitland at number 30 Coburg Road. Colourtone, MChem Pharmacy, my favourite pharmacy. I'm going to talk to you about them a little bit later. And joining us now also Springbok Atlas, the bus transport guys. You would have seen them. They sponsor the Springbok rugby team. You're always driving around with the Booker bus. So Springbok Atlas on board now with Cape Rugby TV, and also giving some great offers for the clubs out there and sports groups that want to travel. I'll talk more about that a little bit later during the course of the show. Let me introduce you to my panel this evening. Jerome Parvater, welcome back.
Yeah, JP, good to be back. It's nice and wet and cold, but it's proper rugby weather, so it's good to be back here.
Yeah, it is nice. But Jonathan van der Walt, nice to have you back.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having me, man.
You've had a couple of breaks, huh? False Bay.
Only one break, only 1 week. A bit of a tactical break, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because we have a big game coming up this weekend.
We're never really sure when it comes to Ishmael Dolly and Jonathan van der Walt what sort of rugby games you guys are going to get up to. No, look, it's all quiet now. Jerome, these coaches are now getting a little bit more smart. They're the Super League coaches.
Yeah, it sometimes thinks they're getting too smart.
We've had some big games over the last couple of days. Club rugby's back on the cards. It certainly looks like the Fever is back in the pitch. The universities are getting back into the swing of this things now. The teams are back from Ramadan as well. So it looks like it's now club rugby 100%.
Yeah, everybody's back. Ramadan is finished. We played with the under-21 team against SK Warmers last night, which was a good run for them after their long break.
Yeah.
They're looking good. So yeah, everybody's back. It's back to normal now.
How's your development team going?
No, we stopped now because they're all back to their clubs.
Oh, right.
So they're playing for their clubs. So I'll get them at the end of the season again.
John, let's talk a little bit about False Bay. We are going to look at some of the highlights coming up soon, folks. That's St. George's Helderberg game, and of course the match between Police and Masiphumelele. We'll talk about that in a couple of seconds. We will also be doing interviews with Anthony Daniels and Peter Williams, both from Police, otherwise now known as Bobbies. They call themselves the Bobbies, and Kolani Maklula, as well as Warren Edwards, both at Masiphumelele. Warren Edwards coaching again at Masiphumelele. We've got an old video there where we threw the ice bucket water. We must find that video, in fact. John at False Bay, you guys are sitting at number 5 on the log now. You've only played 2 games, in fact, in the league. I mean, it feels like there's more, but it's 2 games down, and you've won 2 from 2 so far. Marty's this weekend, big game for you guys.
Yeah, again, you know, this league is a marathon. It's definitely not a sprint, and this year is a little bit different because all of the games are crammed in. So I think a lot of teams are playing 6 or 7 games on the trot, which is actually quite demanding on the players. So only time will tell to see. But yeah, after 2 games, we're kind of happy where we are right now. And yeah, look, we're looking very forward to playing Marty's, to play some of the best teams in the league, or if not in the country. Again, it's always a great privilege.
Well, we're going to scratch a little bit on what's happening in Super League A in a second or so. Of course, there's some big games over the weekend, at least coming up now this weekend. Of course, England playing South Africa at Newlands, so there's going to be a slight time impact for some of the clubs this weekend, folks. So you're going to have to keep a close eye on the fixture times and the field locations. Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties last week. We couldn't make it for what was sadly one of our very few occasions that we've ever not put on a show in the last 8 years. So the St. George's Helderberg game was the previous week's game, and as promised, we would show you the highlights from the first half and the second half. Let's catch up with that, and then we'll take an ad break, and then we get into the Youth Day celebrations where we saw Police play against Masiphumelele at Pinelands. Let's take out St. George's now, Helderberg, first half. St George's is certainly showing their merit.
I think that they lack a bit of defence, especially in the 22 St George's. That's where the 2 tries came in. But overall, I think it was pretty even. It's just like the 2 tries with they lacked there in the 22. But I think set pieces was good. They were scrumming well, which I've seen now, and they tried to attack. I think Armin Bailey just made one mistake there by kicking a grubber in the 22. So, but pretty close the first half.
Okay, let's take a look at the second half. Of course, St George's against Brackenfell. Right, there we go. St George's coming away there with a 3-point loss only. That, of course, well, after this weekend's win, but we'll talk about that in a second. Brackenfell winning there, 20 points to 17. Jono, Jerome was talking about during the break there about a couple of movements between the players. A little bit of scrum off on the one side, scrum off on the other side, then changing halfway through the game. But all in all, a close game.
Yeah, again, I think it's very close. I just look at a few players that kind of catch the eye, and I remember him playing last year when we played out there. Brackenfell, for those who don't know, is a very narrow field. The 13 for Brackenfell, I think his name is Courtney Cupido. In the first half as well as the second half, making some telling carries and definitely helping them out on general defence. Again, bit tough to go down right towards the end there, but a nice penalty to kind of secure the points. And I must just say, like, hats off to both clubs. I think Brackenfell this year, you know, they lost a coach at the end of last year. To get a new coach this year is a very difficult thing to try and get all the players onto your kind of wavelength and way of thinking. And again, I think Brackenfell has started the league very well.
Yeah, Jerome, they have done incredibly well. I mean, but there again, so is St George's. You've got to give them credit as well. They're doing pretty well. They've managed to pull a win against Belhar over the weekend. And we know Belhar is having a bit of a shaky season, but they're still a Super League A outfit, and they know, they know that they're probably just having a bit of a rough time at the moment. To come away with a win against Belhar is a good victory, and a 3-point loss to Brackenfell on the day. Yeah,
they really jacked up their defense in the second half, which the coach did well there to jack that up, because halftime 17-0, so Brackenfell only scored that 3 points at the end there to win the game. and they were quite smart. So we were talking about coaches earlier on by having tricks up their sleeves. And it's amazing to see what
no,
the
we
guys
weren't.
are
We
doing.
were talking about Jonathan van der Veld and Ishmael Dolly, not
Okay,
all
but
coaches. But
but it's good of the St. George's coach to have that because like I said they can pretty much play everywhere. So on the one side you can see Bola at 10 and then move to 9. Armin Bailey at 10 and it confused the defense a bit.
Yeah.
And you always have two fresh 9s on the field.
Yeah.
So that's good of them. But yeah, St. George's unlucky not to take the points there.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna be a force. The way they play, they're really up there with the modern game. And it's strange, JP. You were talking about the coach of Brackenfell. He was at Kuilsriver last year. And he couldn't do anything there. And this year it's going well for him. So it's a strange game, this.
Yeah, if we look at St. George's at the moment, they are sitting at the moment, ironically, they're sitting at number 8 on the log, doing quite well. They've got a 33% win rate at the moment. And you would have thought that their win rate is higher. Having obviously what it's showing us is that the margins are very close. And one of the things that I've noticed this year is that it looks like the try scoring is high, Jono. If we look just at St. George's at the moment, according to the stats, they're scoring, on average, they're scoring 21 points a game. Most of the teams, if you look at UCT, 35 points a game on average. Stellenbosch, 38 points average. So, I mean, False Bay, 52 points average per game. I mean, these are not low-scoring games anymore.
Yeah. Look, again, I think as you've seen over the years, and I'd say over the last 2-3 years, that rugby has become a bit more attacking and not so much defensive. Again, in our particular league, bonus points are always on the card, so you want to be scoring 4 tries or more to kind of make sure that you're getting those bonus point wins. So again, teams are more attacking. You'll find in wet weather they might still kick for the line and maul a little bit more, but generally guys want to play and give the ball a bit of air. And again, it's great for people to come down and watch as well.
Is it a question, Jerome, of the attacking game is getting better and better, and maybe coaches are practicing much more attack than defense? Or am I reading it wrong?
You remember what we said earlier on when the guys did not have proper fields or facilities to train.
Yeah.
Some were in parking garages, some were on a piece of field where they couldn't go down and they couldn't. So their focus point was a lot on handling and skills. Remember?
Yes, we spoke about the fact that you couldn't do much.
They couldn't, but they work a lot on their handling and the skills. So you could see they could keep the ball through 5, 6, 7 phases this year, where in the past, like after the second phase, it seems like the guys lose concentration. Yeah. So with the rain not being there earlier on and the fields were not good,
starting to show.
It actually start to show now.
Yeah. So it looks like we're getting a lot of attacking games here. Anyway, folks, we'll take an ad break now. When we come back from the break, Police up against Masiphumelele. They were out at the Youth Day celebrations, of course, raising funds for the club. In fact, the club facilities themselves needed a bit of work. They needed a bit of, I think the roof had to be changed. So great initiative there. Good Hope FM was in fact broadcasting live from the Pinelands facility. So we'll take a look at what happened there in the match between Police and Masiphumelele at the Pinelands Rugby Ground after the break. Back in a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's Cape Rugby TV. Big thanks to MChem Pharmacy on board now with Cape Rugby TV. If you haven't been to MChem Pharmacy, folks, at it's just on the corner of the N1 and Durban Road, right? My favorite pharmacy. It's open 24 hours a day. I've had some bad flu, as I'm sure many of you have had. Mr. Malach and Lee and Joel and his team out there at MChem Pharmacy. If you need anything 24 hours a day, then MChem Pharmacy is the place to go to. Not only for medicines, but there's things like sports supplements there. There's a fantastic skincare clinic. There's orthopedics services for you. There's a clinic down at the bottom. So really, everything that you need for you and your family available at MChem Pharmacy on the corner of the N1 and Durban Road. And if you're just hungry or you need a snack, and one of the things that I in fact love about MChem is the fact that there's massive parking. You've never got to worry about parking. There's 2 enormous parking spots right next to the pharmacy. Jono, the next time you need a bit of strapping or need to get some medicine for your flu, MChem Pharmacy is the place to go.
We'll check it out.
Right, folks, we went out to Pinelands over the weekend where we went to go and watch Police, otherwise known as Bobbies, up against Massey Phumelele. Warren Edwards is back on the track at Massey, and the Massey boys are all fired up and ready to go. But so is Police. They're all ready to now show that their ranks back in Western Province Rugby is well called for. Let's see what happened in the first and second half highlights. Again, what we're seeing is a little bit of attacking rugby here. Massey Phumelele, we saw a couple of great breakaways there.
Yeah, Rowdy and myself go way back.
Rowdy?
Rowdy is Warren Edwards. That's kind of his
Rowdy
nickname.
Burns.
He was my flower when I was
Warren
scrum off
Edwards,
back in the day.
is that his nickname?
His nickname's Rowdy. Obviously for his off-field antics and not for his on-field antics. But he was my flower back in the day when I used to play scrum off at the villages.
Were you a scrum off? Jerome, did you know he was a scrum off?
He was they call him the US van der West.
Oh, really? I thought you were fly off.
No.
Scrumming.
Sometimes played 9-10 and fullback, but generally played scrum off.
We're going to have to look into John van der Wald's rugby playing history. We need a couple of those old photographs. No, we'll get back to you. So Warren was your scrumming at Villages, but Massey looking good at the moment.
Yeah, look, I think he's doing a lot of good work there. I know he's involved with Fishhook High School as well, so he's kind of in that area. Yeah. And I can tell you that there's a couple of decent players there. Maybe some of them should maybe start making a way across the mountain over there. But I know that they have very big goals and they are definitely looking to come up in the leagues. Yeah. And again, it's just nice to see someone from the southern suburbs representing well.
There's this guy, Ryan Zwester, he really caught my eye, that fullback of Massey. And also with their set pieces, and look at that try that they score off the maul there. And, but it's also good discipline of police, because sometimes guys can get negative by pulling the thing down. Yeah. But they just, they try to stop the maul, but Massey too strong there. And some good interplay with them, and police were also not too bad, and looks like there's something happening at them also.
Yeah, we're gonna take a little bit deeper look in that in a second. Let's take a look at the second half. Of course, Massey managed to keep the upper hand there, and ended up being quite a close game. We'll give you the final score in a sec. right, final result there. Fisher, at least not Fisher, I'm thinking Fisher with Warren Edwards coaching there. Masi Pumulele, of course, coming out of the Fisher Valley, if you want to say it. Well, Newark, Fisher Valley, pretty much the same thing. Masi ending up there with a win, 29 points to 14. A little bit of a bounce back from Police, Jerome, but not enough.
Yeah, not enough, but they've also done well after that first half. And yeah, I must say also the prop from Masi Siabonga Mabali, he scored 2 tries there. He's a big boy, but he looks like he's got some skills.
Do you see any of these guys coming through the ranks, ending up in one of your?
He's definitely one of the. I don't know how old he is, but he's definitely one of the guys that I've seen now that can. He's not with us, so he can join us.
Jono, for Masi though, and just looking at the log, Masi and Police are both sitting at number 1 and 2 in the log. We knew that this was going to be a derby game. They were 1 and 2 in the log going into this game, and they're still sitting at number 1 and 2 on the log. It's great for Police though, who are new back into Western Province ranks. I think it's now 3rd or 4th year that they're back on the park. Great for Police to be in the ranks, and they certainly look like. 3-4 years ago, they didn't look all that good. They showed that they were busy getting their structures together. But looking at Police now, we're seeing some good rugby.
Oh, look, there's definitely something going on over there. I don't know what the committee or what the exec is like, but you can definitely see on the field something is definitely going on there. Coaching structures, kind of the way they're playing their set piece, and just the general rhythm of the game is looking pretty decent. So again, I think a massive well done to everyone at Police.
Yeah, let's speak now to the Police captain, or not Police captain as in, or he might be a captain in the Police, who knows. The captain of Police, Anthony Daniels.
Ja, het is altijd lekker om league rugby te spelen. Ons was voor die 6 maanden het ons afgeleden. Ons het bij in Boland en Calvinia en zoveel. Ons het ons gaat toeren en ons het voor ons actief gehouden. Ja, ons het lekker gees wat ook hier aangaan. Die mannen, ons komen van ver af. Overal hier in de Weskaap kom die mannen om hier bij Bobby's te spelen. Hier gaat het niet door een spanning, maar broederschap wat ons heeft hier zo. Dat is bij lekker. Ja, het is altijd voor die ervaren mannen om die jong mannen aan die hand te vat en vir hulle te wys hoe ons moet maak en so. Maar die jong mannen kom ook zelf hier. Ja, discipline is een ding wat voor ons vandaag voor ons die game gekost het, maar dat is iets wat ons niet aan moet werken en zo, maar ons komt voor hulle in die league.
All right, folks, there we go. Police, Anthony Daniels, captain of the Police rugby side, just having a chat with us. Let's speak to the coach now, Peter Williams.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to be back on the rugby field. Unfortunately, processes didn't work for us. I think it's going back to galvanizing, congregate, to get processes in place and start from the beginning. Yes, look, we're trying to galvanize the old with the old guys with the younger guys, just to get a balance in the team. We have quite few young guys at Bobby's, trying to bring them through for the future. So we have to give them a chance, and at the end of the day, the only way that they're going to gain experience is by giving them chances in games like this. Look, we try to use rugby as a vehicle for not only for development and for rugby players, but also to reach out to communities, also to galvanize our communities. We have a lot of challenges there outside, but through this event we're just trying to tell the youth, look, you matter, and we're thinking about you, and we're just trying to create an atmosphere where we can bring the youth together to show them that there is something else, except for the challenges that they have on the outside. Yes, definitely. I think one slip-up don't determine that it's the end of the season. We are positive about the 2018 season. We have prepared well. In rugby, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but we have to look at the positives that come out of a game and go and work on the negatives.
The coach of Police there, Peter Williams. Is it a little bit early, Jono? They're talking now about traditional rugby struggles. I mean, the reality is, I've only been back in the league for 3 or 4 years. They should be looking at it from another perspective of, well, it's only been 3 or 4 years. We're doing fantastic. We're sitting at number 2 in the log.
Look, I think if you just hear what Peter had to say there, going back to processes, starting over again, blending young with the old, they're definitely on the right track. But like we say, I'm not a firm believer in building up teams and taking 3-4 years to build. in any league, you have an off-season and a pre-season. And granted, fair enough, you can go and recruit and so on. And sometimes you have community-based teams, and sometimes those are the only players which you have. Coaching is a full-time job. If you're coaching a first team, you have to. It's Monday to Sunday. It's flipping 6 a.m. until flipping 9, 10, 11 p.m. You're on the go non-stop, recruiting, getting guys down, making sure they practice, making sure they're training, even though they have to work. It's full-on commitment and buy-in. So yes, it's a huge commitment from players and from coaches. And if they carry on the way they are, hopefully the tide will turn.
Yeah, no, I think the guys from police, you're doing a fantastic job, especially with the fundraising initiatives and the activities that you're busy planning in and around the Pinelands Rugby Field, which is exactly what any club needs. That's what we want to see. We managed to speak to the captain of Masi Pumelele, Kolani Mukhlalu. He was very keen, things going well there at Masi.
Yeah, it was really good. Like, this is what we were expecting on the game. These guys, we knew that we're going to get heavy pack, and then we should use our heavy pack, but we're going to use our experience. This is what we wanted to do, just go on the line and pump the line out in the scrums as well, on the set piece, and then it worked for us. Yeah, it is a good side. It was, even though we have more experienced players, like Pat came back, and we're also expecting other guys to come back as well, just to gain fitness, so that we can bring the Masi back in the top leagues. It was long. At some point we were so discouraged, players didn't want to come and practice, but we managed to get a few players down, and then we managed to get fitness as well, and it turned to be a great season. Yes, this is what the battles was. We were number 1 and then number 2, and then that's a point difference away. And it worked very hard for it. And I want to thank my boys. And even though at the end of the game we were a bit of discipline, didn't work for us, but we really worked very hard for it, and then we deserve it.
Kolani Mukhlalu there talking to us. He looks like he's having a bit of fun, Jerome.
Yeah, good player. He's quite a quick number 6. Good player, and you can see he's a true captain. He lead by example the way he plays.
Yeah. Let's speak to Warren Edwards, coach at Masi Pumelele. Back on the track.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a tough little period before the season started. We had to do some beach sessions, bit of gym sessions, so a bit of spice things up, and we build a nice culture that way. But the numbers were a bit short because the boys want to play. So now all of a sudden the boys they're ready. They're coming down, but now it's just trying to get the structure of our game plan. Yeah, absolutely. The boys love throwing the ball around, which shows the grey hairs, but yeah, I'm just trying to get that structure. When things are going a bit pear-shaped, we've got to pull it back in together. Yeah, absolutely, and that's it's still a work in progress. We just got to, when things go haywire, we've just got to bring it in a little bit tighter, stick to our structure, get our big boys involved, and just trying to have that killer instinct. We've got to try and practice, try and put teams away at the end of the day. Absolutely, yeah, we've got to bye next week, and then it's pretty much for the next 3-4 months straight, every Saturday. So it's going to be fun, exciting times.
Warren Edwards there, Jono, one of your former colleagues. Positive, always smiling. I mean, he's a real community rugger.
Yeah. Oh, look, Roddy just enjoys his rugby, and you can see it in the way that his players play as well. He's a true rugby man, club man as well. And again, they can only go from strength to strength, especially with someone leading them like that.
Right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll take a look at the results and fixtures in Super League ABC and the rest of the league. But before we go, Springbok Atlas, the bus transport company, is now on board with Cape Rugby TV. If you want to get yourself any transport for clubs or sports groups, then Springbok Atlas has got some fantastic specials running for you. Semi-luxury, luxury coaches. They're, of course, very focused on safety. Any destination in South Africa, negotiable rates. They've got different sizes from 20-seater buses all the way up to 60-seaters. And right now, there's a special running for you. All you need to do is contact Rashad Luki on 021-506-2572 or email him rashad.luki@springbokatlas.co.za. So Springbok Atlas got some great specials running at the moment. This is the bus company that transport the Springboks around. Get a hold of Rashad Luki, and certainly the guys from Springbok Atlas will be able to give you some really good affordable rates, especially now between June and July where they're running some specials. And we know in the world of club rugby you are traveling a lot. You're traveling from Cape Town up to the West Coast, from the West Coast through to the Cape Winelands region. We know the Franschhoek guys travel a lot, the Hamlets guys travel a lot. Pretty much everybody. Johnny, you guys travel a bit, huh?
We've actually used their buses as well in the Gold Cup. Very, very good and comfortable. We had to, I think, travel for about 18 hours up to Sishen and back. So yes, very, very comfortable and a decent ride.
Oh, that's pretty good. Right, folks, remember Rashad Lucky at Springbok Atlas. Get all of him. He'll give you some really good rates for your club rugby transport and travels. And while you're there, why don't you take some photographs on the bus of the players that are on the bus? Give it to us here at Cape Rugby and we'll put them on. We'll take an ad break. When we come back from the break, it's time for more logs, results and fixtures. Right, welcome back everybody. Cape Rugby TV every Wednesday. Remember, you can find us on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Cape Rugby TV. Share your posters, share your stories, share your results, and we will amplify it and share it with everybody else. That's how the Cape Rugby TV show works. You take your story and we make a lot more noise around it. In Super League A over the weekend, NTK went down to Hamilton's 19 points to 6. St George's, as we mentioned earlier on, a good win for them, 22-28 win over Belhar. And then Tygerberg beating Villages 26 points to 15. Let's move straight along. We've already spoken quite a bit about the Super League A results. Of course, UCT, Stellenbosch, Durbanville and Hamilton's, as well as False Bay. Those are your top performers at the moment. Jono, over the weekend, UCT is sitting at the top of the log, but they're not going to be touched right now. Stellenbosch sitting at number 2 on the log on 12 points. False Bay sitting at, I think he's sitting at number 5 on the log on 9 points. This is the opportunity for to see a change at the top of the log. It's going to be a big game, False Bay Marties.
No, look, it's going to be a big game. A lot of people are saying it's the current Varsity Cup champs against the current National Gold Cup champs. For us, it is another game, but it's a defining game in the league where, again, it's a chance for us to kind of jump the ladder, so to speak. So 3 p.m. at False Bay on Saturday is going to be a big game.
How much of last year's loss is going to be playing a role on Saturday? When you went to Stellenbosch, this was the game that you were going to win. You walked away. I think the game went to 5-10 minutes overtime, or there was a mistake right at the end, and you ended up losing by just 1 point, if I remember correctly. How much will that be weighing on the players' minds this weekend?
Thanks for reminding me, JP. Some would say too soon. We lost the year before we went unbeaten, and last year we lost one game by 1 point and came second in the league. So of course it's a bit soul destroying, to say the least. So thanks for bringing that up. Last year's last year. The nice thing about rugby is the past doesn't really matter, and this is a new year with new players, etc., and a new way of thinking and moving forward. And it's all about Saturday.
If you don't beat them on Saturday, you can always challenge them to a CrossFit session.
Oh, we can make up something along the way.
Jerome, let's take the coach out of the picture here. Let's take it to you. Stellenbosch and False Bay, certainly two of South Africa's, if not South Africa's, two strongest rugby sides. Your feelings about the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate to have two clubs like this in Western Province. I mean, False Bay currently the Gold Cup champs, Marty's the Varsity Cup champs. So with the amount of talent that we have here, we're fortunate. So it's going to be interesting to see who is actually now the real top guy in Cape Rugby. So it's going to be a nice one. I just think two different styles of rugby. I know Marty's now, they changed their approach, so they like to run the ball. They run from their own try line. They just keep the ball alive, try to run. And False Bay with their big forwards and combine nicely with their backs. So it will be quite an interesting game, and to see how they match up.
Marty's haven't played for a few weeks. Think it's going to have an impact?
Look, there's a lot of guys training with me currently from Marty's under 21 guys, and they're busy training, so they always fit. So I don't think that will
50-50.
Yeah.
50-50.
A draw would be good, but I think
a draw would be 50-50. Right, folks, we're going to take an ad break. When we come back from the break, we'll take a look at Super League B. Welcome back, everybody. Cape Rugby TV. Remember, if you want to win yourself a case of Score energy drinks, all right, a whole case of Score, 33090. Score is, of course, on board with Western Province Club Rugby. You want to win a case of Score energy drinks? Just SMS the word SCORE. I hope you got your mobile phones handy. SMS the word SCORE to 33090. Congratulations to last week's. Well, in fact, no, there was no winner last week. We sadly didn't make the show last week. But 33090, that's where you want to, who you want to SMS right now. In Super League B over the weekend, it was a win for All Saints, 22 points to 19. Belleville, 29-22 over Kraaifontein. Franschhoek with a big win over Hamlets, 44-3. Helderberg, well, they drew with Caleb Boys, and Peneel Villagers went down to Paarl, 42 points to 26. Jerome, let's take a look at some of those results there. Young Peoples, of course, have managed to drop down to, I believe they've down to, they dropped down to third on the log. This was mainly, this was, of course, the opportunity for some changes at the top of the log. Kuilsrivier now go to the second on the log, but they drew over the weekend. They drew with Helderberg, but it was so fine at the top of Super League B that this was the opportunity for Kuilsrivier to change. And all they needed to do was draw. But those three teams, Paarl, Kuilsrivier, Young People, and Belleville, they're really contesting those top 4 spots at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Young Peoples beat Kuilsrivier and beat Paarl 2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah,
they beat Paarl. And All Saints done well, because I really thought that Young Peoples were up for that game, but maybe the home advantage for them there. And Belleville also beating Kraaifontein at Belleville.
Do you think that Belleville is showing a little bit more character? You said before the Franschhoek game that Belleville was the team to watch out for during that game. It was a 1-point win for them. In fact, and partly I think Franschhoek missed the kick right at the end. It could have gone in either way, but here Belleville have now come out against Kraaifontein, and it almost say it's a derby. It's just not too far away from each other. But Belleville maybe starting to settle down now in the league.
Yeah, JP, it's all about conditioning, and I know Warren Isaacs, who's the coach, and Regan Peterson, they said like they're gonna let the guys play. They played almost every week during the off season, because I know the Belleville boys, it's all about playing in conditioning and keep them fit, so they like to play. So that was their approach, and you can see it worked for them. And he also said that they've got something like 60-70 players at the training field, which is also rare for Belleville. So they're doing great work there.
John, there's where you can go do some scouting as you go down to Belleville. There's a lot of players there. You've got 60 players coming to practice session. Okay, one of the results that I wanted to look at here was Franschhoek Hamlets, 44 points to 3. Hamlets must have had an off day, because Hamlet's a dangerous outfit. They've shown year after year that they're like a real contender. And I mean, we know Franschhoek is a good side, but the margin there just way too big for what I expected. I was expecting a 50-50 game.
Yeah, it is. Belleville went to Franschhoek to beat them there, and Hamlets, it's the first time that I've seen a score like that against them. They always win or lose by 2 or 3 points, so I don't know what happened there.
One of the big games coming up this weekend, we will look at the fixtures a little bit later. But in fact, let's move straight on to Super League C now, folks. We'll talk about the fixtures coming up in Super League B in a sec. Super League C, Elsies River going down to Strand over the weekend, 28 points to 6. Kylemore beating Goodwood, 35-29, and then Macassar with a 34-21 win over Scottsdene. In the City League, as we saw earlier on, it was a win for Maisi Pumelele, 29-14. Temperance and Cities beating Progress, 24-22. Jerome, Temperance and Cities, that would be a derby match. Both teams playing on the same City Park field still. Originally, those used to be 4 different teams there, with Progress, Perseverance, Temperance, and Cities. Now Temperance and Cities have merged over the last few years. Pretty close margin there.
Yeah, if you look at that result, it must be, John, it must be tough for that coaches, because they train in the same venue, so they could look and sneak over and see what they do at lineouts, what's their approach going to be. I think that's why the score looked like that. It must be tough for them to play each other.
I think it's almost quite interesting. You definitely don't need any video analysis on those two teams. You can just rock up and just have a little squiz across the practice there. Very, very interesting result for them. Tough one.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario. One of these days, I'm not sure if we're ever going to see those clubs merge. Where many people have said that it's a good idea for Progress, Perseverance, Temperance and Cities to actually merge and become one strong outfit at at the City Park fields. Certainly a good facility to have one club there. But anyway, that's the history of Western Province Club Rugby. We have our own cultures, our own traditions, our own personalities, and still good to see teams playing club rugby there. In the Southern League, it was a draw for Atlantis and Morningstar. Noordlikers, well, a 1-point loss for them against Laguna, and then retreat with a 32-9 win over Silverleaf. In the Northern League, Stelkor, Stellenbosch Coronations drawing with Wraithby, and then Van der Stel Evergreens with a 24-22 win over Eersterivier. Now, Jerome, Eersterivier is also a dangerous outfit. We know that Eersterivier-Macassar game goes down to the wire. Van der Stel Evergreens. Now, Van der Stel's a little bit stronger this year. They've merged with Evergreens. We know Andre Gabriels and the guys are working very hard at Van der Stel. But that would have been a good result for Van der Stel to beat Eersterivier just by 2 points.
Yeah, I know Adrian and Charles Williams also there. So it's older guys who know their story. So it's good to see at Van der Stel. And it's always good to see because Van der Stel was struggling at one time, Evergreens was struggling. So it's always good, like you said before now, if teams just put their pride aside and say, listen, we only have X amount of players, let's get together and we can make it stronger. It's good for the community, it's good for rugby. So it's a good result for them there.
All right, folks, and then of course in the PAL League, and there's no PAL League games this weekend, by the way, but let's take a look at the results in the PAL League. Riverstones 52-12 over Parel United, then Young Gardens 13-12 over PAL Rangers, very close games there, and then Lower PAL 39-17 over Violets PAL, and Albions going 3 points up over Allendale. In fact, that was another derby match, first and second place log results there, or matchups at least, between Albions and Allendale. Allendale just going down narrowly there. You'll know that the guys are, of course, playing there out of the correctional facilities, and we must just say, keep the rugby spirit high. Let's take a look at some of your posters that came over the weekend for the fixtures. Of course, here's a big one here from False Bay. We'll see False Bay up against Marty's this weekend. There's a nice poster that's come in from the management at False Bay. And then coming in full screen size, Union Mill up against Hamilton's this weekend, playing at the Pinelands Police Rugby Fields. First team kicks off at 3:30, so you've got a lot of games happening there at the Pinelands Police Rugby Ground. So very much so this is a neutral rugby ground. Union Mill up against Hammies this weekend, Jono. Neutral ground. I was expecting Ishmael Dolly to take advantage of this one. He's probably got his reasons for why he's not playing at Mill. Maybe just letting the field rest a little bit. But how much will that have an impact for Union Mill? Because this is going to be, I would at this stage of the game, I would say this is a 50-50 game.
Yeah, just on the grounds, I'm not too sure because I think Unimill's fields are fine. So it could be Hammy's fields aren't great and that's why they're playing there. Because I do know Nicky and his team have been training there. I could be wrong, but just throwing it out there. And yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting game. I wouldn't want to call this one, to be honest. I think Isha's got the pack to counter Nicky's pack. And I think both backlines are running hard at the moment. Again, it's going to be a tough one. Yeah, I wouldn't want to call it.
You don't want to call it. All right, I'm calling it 50-50. Let's take a look at the next posters that came in here. Kuilsrivier against Hands and Hearts coming up this weekend, playing at the Jachters Hofsfield. And then I love this picture, the poster that's come in also from the Kylemore side, and they're playing against Solorian. So nice big players there. Entry is 10 Rand for adults and 10 Rand for vehicles. RMG Trucking kindly supporting the guys from well, I suppose from Kylemore. Kickoff there for the first team is at 4 o'clock. And then Hamadias are up against Caledonian Roses. They're back after the break. This is going to be an enormous game. Big derby match. They're playing at Veigeskral Saturday, this coming Saturday, with the first team kicking off at 3:30. Entry fee is 10 Rand for adults and 10 Rand for cars. Derby match time there between Hamadias and Kelly's. And then also Windmill United are up against Van der Stel Evergreens. They're playing at Bergzicht. And of course, there's going to be an opportunity there, it looks like, to watch the Springbok England game, which kicks off at 5 o'clock. But the main game there at 3:30, of course, sponsored by Dynamica. So a lot of action there. Right, folks, remember, if you want to get yourself that Newlands supporters, or the faithful at least, the exclusive welcome pack, just 1,000 Rand gets you that whole big package from Western Province Rugby Supporters Club, known as the Newlands Faithful. Just 1,000 Rand. It's worth more than 3,000 Rand. And if you buy that, and you can get it online at wprugby.com, there's full membership packages in there, such as the DHL Stormers jersey that's thrown into the pack. a new exclusive cap. There's a 500 Rand Adidas voucher. You get your membership card. Then, of course, the official certificate that gets sent to you courtesy of DHL. And there's bonus gifts from sponsors and partners and free trial gym access and your Vodacom supporters starters pack. So a lot of action coming up this weekend, folks. Well, we're starting to run a little bit out of time here. Jerome, rugby plans for the weekends, other than, of course, the England's and Springbok game?
I'll go to one of the teams who's playing closer to Newlands, and then off to the test.
So it's False Bay and Marty's for you?
Yeah, that's.
And then, of course, the test match. So a lot of rugby action this weekend. Jono, I'm assuming I don't need to ask you where you're going to be. You'll be at False Bay, at Philip Herbstein. Marty's False Bay. Good luck for the weekend.
There's no schoolboy rugby for a bit. There's a bit of a 6-week break, so it's just club rugby. So yeah, everyone will be down definitely watching the False Bay Marty's game, and those will be at Newlands, great. But if not, we'll have big screens up at the club, and you can watch a test match there as well.
Yeah, right, folks. Well, there's a number of places for you to go to, and we certainly hope that you have a lot of fun this coming weekend. Right, remember, Springbok Atlas on board with Cape Rugby TV. If you need to book your bus transport, get hold of Rashad Lucky there at Springbok Atlas. They've got special deals running now between June and July for sport groups. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. A fantastic rugby weekend. Before I go, big congratulations to Morgan Newman, Cape Rugby TV panelist who gave birth this week. Morgs, if you're watching right now, congratulations, buddy. We're sure you're going to make a fantastic dad, and we hope to see, well, I was going to say him, but it's not a him, it's a her. We hope to see her, pictures of her, and your baby pictures on the show with us soon. A fantastic rugby weekend, folks. See you again next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.